All right, guys. Today's the day I get started on removing these Growatts and putting in the Sol-Arks. I've already shut everything down. So we can start the demo. I do have to go outside and cut off my PV isolation breakers on the other side of the wall there. But these are going out, are coming out, and as I mentioned before, some of the problems I were having, this display is 100% out, no comms. This display is 50% out, no comms. This display, this inverter is working properly. This inverter is working properly. So, but I'm really tired of fooling with them. I've had a lot of little issues with them, and Signature Solar's tech support has been not extremely helpful. They are gonna, I did send this one back to them. They repaired it. It's coming back, but it's going on the shelf when it gets here. This is one that I had to send back, but I had to buy the new one because it was just taking them so long. It took over a month once they decided to send me a replacement unit to get here, so I had to buy one and put in so I could operate. So the one they sent me back is sitting on the shelf. But this is gonna look a lot different when we get through. There'll be two Sol-Ark 15Ks that'll be mounted in here. I'm having to do some extra supporting in here, which I'll talk about in more details when I get to that. This transformer will not be used any longer. That panel right there will not be used any longer. Got to change all the wiring out in here because the Sol-Arks wire a little differently. It's bigger wire, fewer wires, but bigger wires. So I've got to do that. I'm going to leave this inverter in place. A couple reasons. It's not in the way. The Sol-Arks will actually start about right here and go that way 4 feet. So this one's not in the way, and I may, if I want to use it for something else later, I'll have it already here. The display is working on it now, even though the display has been a little flaky, and the comms is working on it, so I'm gonna leave it in place. These three have to go. All right, I got some extra help today at work. We were a little slack today, so I got Clay and Justin outside helping me, and we're gonna see how far we can get today. All right, bye. All right, we've got 3 of the inverters down and boxing up. I'm 1 box short, so I'm not gonna have a box to store this one in. This is the one that has the display that doesn't work at all, and hopefully Signature Solar will repair it, but I don't know if they will or not. At any rate, making a little progress. Still gotta move these boxes. I'm gonna leave that box there for a PV disconnect box. I mean, I have a PV disconnect box on the other side of the wall, but for convenience, I like to be able to shut all the power off going into the inverters from right here. And I know the Sol-Arks are going to have a PV disconnect built in, but I want to be able to kill all the power going into the Sol-Arks, external to the Sol-Arks, in case I was ever have a problem with it and had to work on it. Anyway, making a little progress. Well, we've got all the old inverters off the wall, the old switch boxes, disconnect boxes off, and we've got the wiring out from the old inverters, the AC wiring, And I've got the battery wiring out, which I'll be pulling that out once we get this battery bank pulled out from the wall. I'll be reusing one set of those wires to power this inverter. But then all the other wiring will be new. But when I'm running into this, as I mentioned before, the Sol-Arks are a lot larger and a lot heavier than the Growatts. The Growatts weigh maybe 40 pounds. And so they are mounted using wood screws through this backer board, cement board, into 1/2-inch plywood. And that was fine. It was, 4 screws, and that'll hold 40 pounds all day. But the Growatts, the Sol-Arks weigh over 100 pounds. I want to say like 130 pounds. So I've got to do something a little different. When I framed this wall out, I kind of did it the way the container people built out office space and these things for contractors. And the way they did it was they took a 2x4 and ran it horizontal and screws in from the outside to hold the horizontal 2x4 in, and then they laid their plywood on top of it. So that's what I've done. I've got 2x4s that run horizontal. This one's on the floor. This one's right here at 2-foot centers here, and then up here, and then that 7 foot up there. So unfortunately, neither of those 2x4s will line up with the mounting bracket and the mounting height requirements that I've got for the Sol-Ark. So in order to get it the right height, because I got to keep 6-inch space between the top of the inverter and the ceiling, 6-inch space between the bottom of the inverter and this wireway, and that's exactly what I have. That's how much space will be left. So I'm going to have to mount some strut vertically on the wall here in the proper location, bolt this to my 2x4s here, and then I'll have 3 of these. Let's see if it'll stand up there. I'll have 3 of those across here, one at 4 foot from the edge. From this edge it'll be 4 foot. That'll be the left side of the left inverter. One at 4 foot, that'll be in the center, and then one at 2 foot, that'll be on the right edge of the right inverter. And then I'm going to have to run a piece horizontal between these pieces of strut so I can bolt this bracket on right here. And that's going to put the inverter out from the wall, but that's not going to be a real big deal because I'm having to bolt on another 8-inch wireway on the face of this so I can get the conduits up in there, and I got plenty of room to work with. But anyway, that's what we're doing. This is another thing that I'm having to modify slightly. With my Growatts, I use disconnect boxes like this. This particular one is now going to be a PV disconnect. All PVs are coming here, but they're all sitting on disconnects like this, with the AC DC wiring coming in and the PV wires coming in. But those aren't going to work for the Sol-Ark. Actually, the Sol-Ark will be sitting way out here, so I'm going to have to connect into this box that I'm expanding this out. I have 2 24-inch 8x8 troughs that's going to bolt onto the face of this right here. I'll show you that. So I'm going to have to plug these holes, and the way I'm going to do it, I'm just going to take a piece of aluminum tape and put over it I could get conduit plugs, but I think this will work just as well. Anyway, we'll see. Modifications. Well, this is the bracket we came up with to mount the Sol-Arks. We've got some vertical unistrut and some horizontal unistrut. And what we've done, since my 2x4s are running horizontal, we bolted these vertical pieces to those 2x4s with some 3/8" lag bolts. And then we've mounted the Sol-Ark, some horizontal unistrut, so we can mount the Sol-Ark bracket on here. Now that's going to push the Sol-Ark out about 2 inches from the wall. That's really not going to make a whole lot of difference because we are extending. We're putting another 8-inch trough on the front of this. So I think it's going to work out. Maybe I didn't get my dimensions off. We're fixing to find out because I got some strong backs. I got Clay. There's worse things than an Auburn fan. I don't know what they are. And I got Justin, and he's a Bama fan, so we are sure enough messed up. Well, let's go get a Sol-Ark and see if it'll fit. Well, we got that first one in. It didn't go in. It wasn't very difficult to put in. Actually, it went in pretty good. We still got to tighten this bottom one up, but I thought we'd leave it a little bit loose to make sure we can fit the next one on there. I've got all my proper clearances, but just barely. A little over 6 inches at the top. I needed 6. Six inches at the bottom, and I got exactly 6 inches, so we're good. Now let's go get that other monster. Man, these things are big. The Growatt and the Sol-Ark. All right, we got the second one over here. Fixing to unbox it and get it mounted. Hey T-Bo, what do you think? You ready? We gotta have one good supervisor. Well, I think Clay and Justin did a pretty good job. He's putting a level on it. And it looked kind of like it was level from back here. Oh. And it looks kind of level from back here on the side too, so we're gonna call it level. So that was the heavyweight part. Now we got all the wiring to do. But I think it's in here pretty good. It's not going anywhere. But those are some big units. The Sol-Ark 15K Inverters. I bought these from Engineer 775, Scott Hunt. Look him up on YouTube. Check out his website, Practical Preppers LLC. He's got all kind of cool stuff on there that you might find useful in your off-grid living. So check him out. I know he's been a big help to me. And I appreciate everything he's done to help us out here. I've bought the Sol-Arks from him. I've bought this bottom wireway from him, even when I was putting the Growatts in. I also bought my mount for my PV panels. And kind of developed a little relationship there, and it's been great. So I want to give him a shout out for helping us out with this aspect. And I'm looking forward to doing some other business with him. He sells Mr. Cool mini splits. And I might be doing a project with those sometime this coming year. But he's got a good video up on that too. Check it out. Anyway, these are the Sol-Ark 15Ks. They're mounted. That's in the space, the wall space of 3 Growatt 5K units, and we got to get busy wiring. All right, we're back at it, fixing to tie in the wireway to the Sol-Arks. I'm going to show you what I had to do. But first, let's tell Mr. Duck good morning. Quack, quack. And Clay. Good morning, Clay.
Good morning.
What we're going to do, I've had to, this is an 8-inch wireway that I had used for the Growatts. And it was adequate for those needs. But it's far too narrow for the Sol-Arks. As you can see, none of the hose will match, and it's too short to try to bend a nipple or flex. It just won't work. So what we're gonna do, Clay, can you hold that up there?
Yeah.
Just move it all the way up. Slide it all the way this way. To match the edge up over there. Okay. That's where we're gonna want it. So we're gonna mark this box for the hose, and we're gonna cut them. And we've already cut a back slot out of this wireway. And once we get these holes lined up, we'll get a measurement on our pipe to lower this box back down to where it's in the face of this other wireway. And I think we'll be good to go. All right, we got the hose cut in the top of our wireway here. And we held it up and got a measurement on our pipe, about 5.5 inches, what we decided to do it. It was actually about 6 inches, but we cut it a 1/2 inch short. That way we'd have a little adjustment up and down. These set screws are gonna lock it in place when we get it where we want it. But Clay's finishing up the cutting up the rest of the conduits. But to get access back into this wireway, what we did was take this 24-inch wireway and then cut the back of it out. And that's the reason I went with two 24s instead of one 48-inch wireway to go between the two Sol-Arks, is so I would have this support right here in the middle to keep this box from, you know, we're cutting out the steel, so I wanted this piece here. If it had been a 4-foot wireway instead of two 2-foot ones, this would not have been here, so the box would have had less strength. Anyway, he gets those cut. We're gonna put them up here. We're gonna have our hose pre-drilled, so we will put them up here and bolt it in place. I'll let you see what it looks like. Okay, we got the Sol-Arks all mounted, and we got this one piped up. So we're gonna have to do this other one, but let's see what's on the inside. I haven't been in this one, except to take a quick look. Let's see, we got a stop sign with some instructions. We have a Wi-Fi dongle. We have some communication cables, Carter key. I guess I have to figure out what a Carter key is for. I guess I may have to read the instructions, huh? Cat 5 cable, a tool, 8mm Allen wrench, that could be handy. And This is the box with the CTs in it. All right, there, get those out of the way. I'll tell you what, this thing's a beast. There's nothing flimsy about this. It costs a lot more than these other, for certainly a lot more than a Growatt, but you're certainly getting a whole lot more for your money too. Anyway, let's knock out the hose and get this other wireway up. These knockouts really come out well. I do a lot of electrical installations, and I gotta tell you, some of them you gotta fight to get these pre-punched knockouts out. But this really well done on that. Once you get it started a little bit, you usually have to take a tool and fight them, but this is working really good. Another heads up to Sol-Ark on their design. Okay, now let's hold the box up and get a measurement. Well, we've managed to complete the physical mechanical installation of the Sol-Arks. Inverter 1, Inverter 2, two 15K Sol-Arks. And we've got everything mounted, some substantial support for these heavy things. And we got the wireways up because the conduits for the Sol-Ark stick out past, or the entry points stick out past where my 8-inch wireway. This is an 8-inch wireway. This is an 8-inch wireway bolted to the face of that. Inch and a half conduits. And what we did, so we could get access back into the existing wireway, is cut out a window, and we've bolted it together. I'm going to come back with probably some type of rubber hose and slide over this. It's not sharp, but I don't want any wires running up on it. Looks like I got a little vacuuming to do right there. So that's the physical part is pretty much done, other than I've got to cut the existing covers. So just got this length right here, and the same thing right over here. This is all my PV wires coming from my outside box. They'll land in here, and then these will feed the MPTs over here. So I think it turned out pretty good. I made one mistake. It was a pretty dumb mistake, but if you're not paying real close attention, you make dumb mistakes sometimes. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. You can see if you can figure it out. If you figure it out, make a comment. If this is on YouTube, if you make a comment and you're in the United States, if you make the first comment, first correct observation of what the mistake is, I'll send you one of the books that I've written. Look them up on Amazon and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. And if it is, you see my mistake, point it out, be the first one, then you'll have to shoot me a PM with a mailing address, and I'll send you a signed book. But anyway, make sure it's right for you. Some people may not like it. But it's not so obvious right now. We did a little something to hide it, so you could have to search. Anyway, physical installation is done. Now the wiring. We will have some more physical demo when these panels will come out. This transformer will come out, and this wiring here, battery wires have to come out. We've got bigger wires going to the Sol-Arks. But yeah, I don't think it turned out too bad. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Scott Hunt again. I got the Sol-Ark inverters from him, and they were really good to deal with. Sol-Ark had a little snafu with the shipping. It wasn't nothing big. It didn't create me a problem, but they sent me a little gift card as their means of saying, hey, we goofed, we're sorry, which really wasn't necessary because it didn't create me any problems. But there we go. I think we're gonna have to pull off though. Clay's outside making these covers. We're not gonna put them on now because I still gotta pull the wiring in there. But we got some pretty cold weather coming up here tonight. And while I think everything is ready for it, I'm gonna go double check. I'll probably put a little space heater in here, and I've got a smart plug to go in the wall, and I have a thermostat sitting up on that little small box that's also a smart thermostat that'll tell me what the temperature is in here. And I may turn that space heater on if the temperature gets down close to freezing, because I don't want these batteries, even though they're not on, I'm going to keep them above freezing. It's probably not a problem if they're not in operation. I'm just going to keep them above freezing. I have this here. This is a little mini split, and it heats and cools. But the lowest temperature I can set it on is 62 degrees. And I don't need it to be 62 degrees in here. When it gets down around 14 tonight or tomorrow night, I just need this to be about 34 to 35 degrees just to keep this from freezing. It's not gonna hurt anything else. At any rate, let me get busy, and if you happen to be in the path of this little cold storm that the U.S. is experiencing here in the next couple of days, be safe.